Hey, this is Kenny for Kenny's Audiophile Record Reviews. Thank you very much for viewing my channel. As always, please like and subscribe. That'll help my channel out. That'd be super cool. In this video, I'm going to do my top 5 albums, my top 5 jazz albums from the year 1958. Now, in a previous video, I did my top 5 jazz albums from 1959. That video went well. The idea did not come from me. It came from one of my viewers. I think his name is Jim. If I forgot your name, please forgive me, but it was a great idea, so I thought I'd move forward and do more videos when I see fit and where I think I have some material to add, you know, some insight into these years, these albums from these great years in jazz. But this one's going to cover my top 5 jazz albums from the year 1959. So before I get to my top 5, I have a couple of honorable mentions before I get to my top 5. And this is one of them. Now, the album is in this box set. This is a box set issued by Analog Productions, Thelonious Monk, the Riverside Tenor Sessions. And in this set is an album by Thelonious Monk, a live album by Thelonious Monk called Misterioso, I believe it's called. That album is also sold as a single album by Analog Productions, by the way. And Acoustic Sounds, I should say. But that's a great live album of Thelonious Monk. And it really, really highlights his great talents in a live format. So you should definitely check that out. It's called Misterioso, I believe it's called. I hope I'm not mispronouncing the name. It just happens to be in this box set, and that's my only copy of the album that's in this box set, the Thelonious Monk, the Riverside Tenor Sessions, but it's sold as a single album as well. You should definitely check it out on YouTube if you're not familiar with that live album. Another one, Duke Ellington, Indigos. Now I did a video on this album that I'm gonna post soon. This was issued by Impex Records, and it's really a nice recording, and it's a nice big band effort by Duke Ellington, one you should definitely check out. But look for my video coming soon on this album. And the last honorable mention is one by Brother Ahmad Jamal, the Ahmad Jamal Trio, live at the Pershing, I should say. But Not For Me is the name of the album. Another live album. This is a mono, and this is a stereo version of the album. If I recall, I did a video on this record, by the way. If I recall, the mono sound better. But this is almost like a jazz in a live album. It's like jazz in a mellow mode. It's almost like where jazz meets a little bit of easy listening, because it's that mellow of a session by the Ahmad Jamal Trio. But it's really great. But Not For Me is the name of the album. I think this has been reissued by Analog Productions Acoustic Sounds as well. I'm going to have to get a copy of that one. But we can get to my top 5. And like I said, please leave your top 5 in the comment section below of some of your favorite jazz albums from 1958. Even if you don't have a top 5, please leave your top 1 or 2. That was a great year in jazz, in my opinion, that rivals the 1958 albums, rival the albums that a lot of people think is the greatest year in jazz, 1959, but I think the 58 albums definitely rival the 59 albums, in my opinion. This is a hard bop album. Miles Davis, Relaxing with the Miles Davis Quintet. This was issued in 1959, and this one is issued by Analog Productions. I think I have, actually I should say I know I have. Craft Recordings did an issue of this one, I believe. I think it's on my shelf, and it's a one-step pressing on the album. This amazing album features Miles Davis trumpet, John Coltrane tenor sax, Red Garland piano, Paul Chambers bass, Philly Joe Jones drums. Miles Davis, Relaxing with the Miles Davis Quintet. If you're not familiar with this album, please check it out on YouTube. again, this was actually recorded in 1956. I failed to mention that. This was recorded in 1956 and released in 1958. That was number 5. This is number 4, and this is John Coltrane, Blue Train. The magnificent recording, and magnificent by John Coltrane in his great group on this album that features Lee Morgan trumpet, Curtis Fuller trombone, John Coltrane tenor sax, Kenny Drew piano, Paul Chambers bass, Philly Joe Jones, who was on the Relaxing with Miles Davis album, so he was really busy in those days, playing in great legendary albums. John Coltrane, Blue Train. This is the Tone Poets reissue of the album. There's a stereo and here's a mono issue. If I recall, I enjoyed the stereo record much better. But this is a Tone Poets reissue of John Coltrane, Blue Train album. Now this one easily could have been number 1. I mean, easy. This is a legendary album, and I believe I have this one on the Craft Recordings One Step reissue, I believe. Either it's Craft Recordings or the MoFi. I forgot which one. But this is the Blue Note issue of Something Else by Cannonball Adderley, with a legendary lineup of Miles Davis, Hank Jones, Sam Jones, and Art Blakey. Art Blakey, I should say. I'm sorry. You should definitely check this out if you have not heard it. If you're new to jazz, this is one of the greatest jazz albums ever made. It's just as much as of a Miles Davis effort as it is a Julian Cannonball Adderley effort, in my opinion. Fantastic album. Something Else, Cannonball Adderley. Definitely check it out if you have not heard it, if you're new to jazz. And this is number 3 on my list. Whereas the John Coltrane Blue Train was number 4, and Relaxing with Miles Davis is number 5. Now this is number 2 on my list. Miles Davis, Milestones. It's one of my favorite Miles Davis albums, and it features one of my favorite Miles Davis songs, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But again, this one features Cannonball Adderley, John Coltrane, Red Garland, Paul Chambers, and Philly Joe Jones. Philly Joe Jones is on at least 3 of these albums, my favorite jazz albums from 1958. And that brother was working on some of these legendary albums. But my favorite composition on this album is one called Miles, and that's one of my favorite jazz tunes of all time. It's called Miles. Check it out on YouTube if you have not heard it. Miles Davis, Milestones, issued in 1958. This is number 2 on my list. Number 1 on my list, it might be a little bit controversial, but I think this is a jazz album from 1958 that moves me the most. And that's what matters and counts to me. How well do these albums move you and get you into the music? And this one, above the previous 4, does it more so. And this is similar title to one I just mentioned a couple of album mentions ago. Something Else, the music of Ornette Coleman, the free jazz master. This album just moves me in a way and gets me into music, like I said, more so than the previous 4. The previous 4 are fantastic. For me, in terms of the jazz I love and enjoy, this takes it, the listening experience for me, and the enjoyment experience, to a different level when I'm listening to this album. This is a CD, obviously. This was, from what I recall, the mono record was issued in 1958, according to Discogs, and the stereo was issued in 1959. This is a CD, obviously. This album features Ornette Coleman alto sax, Don Cherry trumpet, Walter Norris piano, Don Payne bass, Billy Higgins drums. It's free jazz masterpiece by Ornette Coleman. Something Else, the music of Ornette Coleman, is number 1 on my jazz albums for 1958. It's cool putting this together. If you have some favorite jazz albums from 1958, please leave your comments in the comment section below. What's your number one? That'd be cool to read some of those comments. Thank you very much for viewing my video. Thank you very much for taking the time to view my video. I really appreciate you investing your time in watching my videos. It means a lot to me. Thank you very much for viewing my video. Please like and subscribe. God bless, strong love, and keep the peace worldwide.